Round 12 is done. Here is our wrap show for AFL today. Leo, what are we going to talk about here?
Well, I'm worried about my Hawks, but what I'm not worried about is that underrated Adelaide backline. They are flying.
And I'm going back to when Nate Caddy became Nate Daddy.
Oh, I don't mind that at all. Check it out in the AFL Today Show right now. An awesome round 12 is done and dusted. Welcome back to the AFL Today Show. I'm your host, Liam McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy. We've got the usual crew, the crew that has been on the last couple of weeks. Got Leo Mullaly in the corner. He's a bit flat from the Hawks, but he'll still be good to go for the show. Leo?
I'm very flat, but I'm feeling good. I don't know why. I'm just happy to be with the boys.
Oh, that's actually very nice, because usually you say we're not mates and we're just here for the colleagues.
We are mates. We are mates.
Oh, okay. Good man. Good man. We've also got Marcus Bazzano. He's rocking the fresh AFL Today Show
the fresh
shirts.
AFL Today Show
Shirts?
I can't even speak.
There you go.
Do I turn around? What am I doing here?
What are you doing?
Oh,
there we go.
that's great. That's great for the audio listeners, that one.
Sorry, I probably just look like a frog then. I gave 1,000 people the ick. Actually, it's what I do on a Friday or Saturday night, to be fair. So
Fingers crossed you gave 2,000 people the ick. That is what I'm hoping for. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to AFL Today on YouTube. Hit the notifications bell. It goes a long way. We're on our way to
7.2, I believe.
7.2. So, keep hitting the subscribe button. Follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more footy content all season long as well. But it's Aussie Rules Today on Facebook, so don't forget that one. I reckon today, the bye rounds, we're just getting right into the results, lads. We're going to get right into it. So, round 12 results. You've got Thursday night footy, which we absolutely love, at the Gabba. Brisbane, 13 goals, 90.
13 goals.
13 goals, 90.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa. What's going on there?
Sorry. Brisbane, 13 goals, 12, 90. Essendon, 11 goals, 6, 72. The Bombers put up a good fight here, Leo, and no one predicted that one.
This was a really fun game.
It was.
And I don't think we were saying that at quarter time because the Lions' first quarter was ultimately the difference in this game. They came out, their midfield was humming. We did chat about how ruthless they could be on the Thursday show, and the answer was yes in that first quarter. They were just ruthless. They were going through Essendon like nothing. McCluggage, 41 disposals, 13 inside 50s, 12 score involvements. Oh, he's just critical for the way they move the ball. He's such a force. I want to pose a question to you lads. We chat about him being All-Australian, and I think he deserves a spot in that side right now. But is he now Brisbane's most important player?
You go first.
Oh, that's... most important. I'm going to go yes.
Yep.
I'm actually going to say yes because I think Neil is going to cop a tag every week. If he gets tagged out of a game, let's say, he can't escape a tag every week. It's these players like McCluggage, like Dunkley, that have to step up. And McCluggage has been that man this season in particular, but he's also been very underrated in previous seasons. And it's just showcased his influence on the game with 41 against the Dons on Thursday.
Yeah, career high 41 as well. I think he's been their best player this year. Like, Lachie Neale, obviously, is a superstar, but he's had a little bit of ups and downs being tagged. You're not going to tag McCluggage. Put him in the All-Australian team. Put an actual winger in the All-Australian team. I don't want a little forward or another midfielder on the wing that's an inside midfielder. Put an actual winger, like Josh Dacos should have had a couple of spots there. An actual winger.
Couple of spots.
Oh, right. He's a jet. The underrated Dacos, of course. But, yes, I think he is their most important player there.
I love that. And just before I get to Essendon, I want to give a quick shout out to Jasper Fletcher. Even though he can't spell his own name or his parents can't spell his own name.
Jasper.
I think what the stat is, last 36 disposals have all been effective from him.
Really?
So he's just been moving to a new role this season, down back. He's been really important for them. Sort of freed up Zorko a little bit more. And just to add Kitty Coleman to that is a bit scary, just quietly.
Yeah, I watched Jasper. He dominated against North, and that was sort of when I noticed him a bit more. Because when you sort of watch Brisbane from the outside and you're not a Brisbane fan, you go, you just look at the stars. But he is a weapon, and he's even been good in the games where they went too good themselves. So, good effort.
Big shout out to Jasper. But we've got to talk about Essendon as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic fight and comeback from your Bomb Rays, Marcus. I thought they were superb. We got to talk about
39-7 for some context.
It was 39-7, and they
came back.
Came back. They got in front for a little bit.
Yep.
Nate Caddy. How special is he? Go on, Marcus. Go
He's
on.
gonna be
have
a
your
gun.
lover boy moment.
He's my son. He's my son. No, actually,
your
he's
age?
my dad. He's my daddy. I love that boy. I love that boy.
You know, rumor has it when Nate Caddy turned 18, he told his dad that the dad is now the man of the house. That's how much
He told his dad
Yeah.
he's the man of the house.
Lance Franklin has pictures of him on his bedroom roof.
bedroom roof.
Yeah, so he's lying in bed at night. He's like,
Poor Jacinta.
he's like, damn.
Damn. No, his athleticism is amazing, and his over the head goal.
Oh,
Like, it's not goal of the year, but it's
not.
a fantastic.
it's top 5, I reckon.
top
He missed the run in. He missed the open goal,
He
but
did
then
miss
kicks
the open
that.
goal.
That's
That's the
awesome.
full caddy experience.
There's not many tall guys that can just kick over the back of their head. There's not many.
No.
There's only like a handful of guys in the league that can do that, let alone a really tall guy like him.
Yeah, he was superb. And also, I think the main reason that Essendon came back into the game in that third quarter was due to Jai Caldwell.
Yeah.
He was outstanding in that third term. 16 disposals, 7 clearances in a quarter of AFL football
Unreal.
and a goal.
In a quarter of AFL.
A quarter of AFL football, he had 7 clearances.
Oh my god.
He was superb, and I think Merritt was playing a bit more back, so I think him to
He
step
played back
up
the whole game.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
for Jai, another person who
weird.
spells his name weird.
By the way, he's a freak talent. He's still only like 22, 23.
Is
Jai
he?
Caldwell. Yeah,
You feel like he's
young.
been around for
He's
ages.
young.
He's
There's a
at
new,
GWS for a few years,
Yeah.
and now he's
it's a
bomb race.
They teased me a little bit, obviously. If you've seen the social clip, I had to. I went in the
check out the
shower
social
fully
clip.
clothed because I was depressed.
Yes.
Please check it out. It kind of flopped. But anyways, it's the Baby Bombers 2.0 slowly emerging.
Oh, that's a big call.
Archie
You won the
Roberts.
premiership.
No, but like as in it's the new young breed coming through. Archie Roberts
Yes.
is young. Nate Caddy's young.
Clark.
You got Kako.
Would you rather take Prime Matthew Lloyd or Nate Caddy?
Oh well, that's a silly question. Nate Caddy.
Obviously.
Prime Matthew Lloyd, of course.
Obviously. And just a quick sum up. You just felt like in the last quarter, the Bombers spent a lot of energy getting back into the game. Maybe a bit of fatigue set in, and the experience of the Lions just managed that last quarter. Probably just helped them get over the line.
Yeah, I think sorry, you go.
Have to see this week in, week out now.
not
That's
the
what
first
Essendon
quarter,
fans,
not the first
Essendon
quarter.
fans want to see. You got to see that week in, week out.
Yeah, and the Bombers, they kicked straight, 11 goals, 6. That kept them in the game. Like, if you're coming up against a team that everyone goes, oh, they're going to win.
Away from home.
You just got to kick straight. We'll touch on that in some games later as well, because if you kick
Segue.
straight,
No,
it absolutely helps. All right, that was Thursday night footy. Let's get into Friday night. The only game in Melbourne, surprisingly, in the first bye round here. Collingwood, 16 goals, 11, 107. Hawthorn, 8 goals, 8, 56. Whoa, that's not good for the Hawks, lads. Marcus, this is your one.
Listen, where else do we start this game? But where were you when Nick Dacos took his first contested mark?
We were together.
We were together.
I was crying in the bathroom.
He was crying in the bathroom, but it was a good day to be a Collingwood forward throughout that game, particularly in the first half. I think the ball was entering forward 50 with a little bit too much ease, particularly in the first half. And that was just really down to Hawthorn's pressure. Even for the whole game, the tackle count was 82 to 38. So there's now
38. Yeah, that's horrible.
38 when you're losing a game by like that margin. It was a cruisy sort of victory for Collingwood. There was
absolutely,
Hawthorn
yeah.
threatened to come back in that second quarter.
No, they
a little bit. No, they didn't. But it's worrying signs because Hawthorn now in the previous 2 weeks tackle counts of 36 and 38, obviously against Brisbane
That's
and
really
Collingwood.
bad. If you want to win a game, you're aiming for about 15 to 20 a quarter, and they've had 36 and 38. That's brutal.
I would love to see how many missed tackles as well. I think that's actually a really underrated stat, the missed tackles.
They actually no. You work for. I'm not even making a joke about this. You work at Champion Data.
Yep, work
They don't.
today.
They wouldn't be counting missed tackles. Maybe that's something they need to.
We literally count missed tackles.
Really? I've never
Yes, we
seen that.
do.
I've never seen that on any of the. There you go.
They're just not on the stats, but we do count missed tackles. Yes.
Okay.
I stick up for my tribe.
Oh, so not AFL today. We go.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Not AFL today.
But Jamie Elliott was one who reaped the rewards of
Oh
that
my
pressure. He
God.
kicked a fantastic goal where he broke a tackle, actually.
Yeah, that was
and
a
then
poor effort as well.
And then went through and kicked a goal. But he ended the game with 5 goals. And he's leading the Coleman boys.
He's like
leading.
He's like LeBron. He's like 36 or whatever. He's 36.
Billy Elliott, LeBron.
Well, I had a little stat here for you boys
love that.
because I looked at this just before we started this podcast. The last person to win the Coleman medal who was under 180 centimeters was Bill Young in 1956.
I loved Bill Young.
That's not a little stat. That's a
The
great
legendary.
stat.
That is an
Bill
awesome.
Young.
So for context, Marcus had to go through the archives of this one. So I respect
Took a
that
while.
stat a lot. Bill Young, he was a jet back in the day though.
Who did he play for?
And even still, Jamie Elliott is 177. Bill Young was 179, sorry, not 150. Jeez, we're getting stats quite
Back in 1956, he was probably full forward, Bill.
Yeah, probably. But it was a little bit concerning. Hawthorn had, especially the start of the game, double the inside 50s, but just weren't able to hit the scoreboard. Collingwood always looked the more dangerous.
Absolutely.
They're running to the end of the season as well. They got two games in the state for the rest of the year.
Yep.
They're basically going to pencil in top of the ladder, minor premiership.
Yep,
Do it now.
I agree.
Yeah, like I said on the power rankings the other week, I don't think there's anyone, personally, I don't think there's anyone that's that close to them. Obviously, Geelong beat them, but at their best, Collingwood are clearly the best team.
I still think Brisbane are close.
You think Brisbane
and
as well?
Geelong as well.
Yeah. And you thought one of their defenders really stood out throughout the game and has done in the past month.
Past month, past 2 weeks especially, but Isaac Quainer, like he sort of been a bit inconsistent throughout his career, but the last month he's been awesome. He had 20 disposals, 85% efficiency, 6 marks. I know that doesn't jump off the page, but his game was just awesome. And
He shut down the Wizard.
The week before he shut down Paul Curtis. Paul Curtis had no influence. Wizard had no influence. So just shout out to him because he's a beast and he loves strutting his stuff, Isaac Quainer. When he's at his best, he looks good.
But someone's stat line that did jump off the page in positive news for Hawthorn was Jack Inman turning it up again against his old side Collingwood. He had 31 and 3 goals. He was just fantastic, particularly in the first half.
Yep.
He was excellent.
He was kicking him from everywhere.
But boys, particularly Leo, what are you thinking here? Hawthorn are 1-4 against top 8 sides so far this season. They could be 1-6 if they lose to the Western Bulldogs at Marvel and Adelaide in Tassie in the next 2 weeks before their bye. This could see them drop out of the 8. And look, I know it's a bit early to say, but as a Hawthorn fan, what are you thinking about their top 4 hopes?
What am I thinking? I think we need to move to the next game. No, top 4's done. We are right now. We are a 6th to 10th side. That's just the reality.
Yeah, but you should be 6th to 8th. Like, you should be playing better.
Well, North should be winning more games. No, that was a low
He's
blow.
getting
Sorry.
personal.
No, that was a drive. That
He
was
was thinking about Josh
unnecessary.
Ward.
That was me lowering my colours there. No, look, I think, we're a middle of the road side who can make finals still, but I don't think we're a contending side.
No, and you played weirdly a lot better footy last year, and you've been found out a little bit, which is a worry. But I still think second half of the year they'll be all right. That's my
I think
opinion.
so.
Yeah. Collingwood obviously flying. They got the job done on Friday Night Footy. Let's get into Saturday, boys. People First Stadium, Gold Coast versus Fremantle. Gold Coast, 9 goals, 10-64. Freo, 11 goals, 9-75. Is it Flagmantle? Is Flagmantle back on? A couple of weeks ago we were saying Fraudmantle. Now they're saying Flagmantle, and they are very excited. 3 straight wins. This is awesome, lads.
Yeah, they I think are back. I think.
You think they're back? Because at the start of the season, I think a lot of us had them top 6.
Yeah.
Do we think that's still possible?
Yeah, I think top 4's on the cards.
You've actually got their record from here, Leo.
I do. So after the bye, they play North in Perth because that's the game North bought, Essendon at Perth, and St Kilda at Perth. That should be 3 wins, and that would make it 6 consecutive wins, which sets them up perfectly for a top 4 charge.
But
100%.
if they do drop those sort of games, though, this is why we're still
plus,
not
of course.
Fremantle.
The game hasn't been played yet, lads, and they've won 3 in a row. They just beat Gold Coast away in tough conditions.
They were superb in that game as well.
They were so good. I'll touch on a few goals. Oh, sorry.
I just want to say, you talked about on the Thursday show, stats guy, about the fun midfield battle. Was it a fun midfield battle?
It was. It was still a really fun midfield, but he had Noah Anderson. He had 39 touches. That's back-to-back weeks where he's had about around that mark. 12 clearance as well. But the difference was Noah Anderson, 1 tackle. Then you look at the other side, you've got Sarong and Brayshaw both had 7+ tackles. And that was the difference in this game. The commentators all game were saying, just Freo brought the pressure. As soon as it started raining, so it was pretty clear first half, then poured in the second half. And Dockers just adapted so much better. They had 20 tackles inside 50. A few of those were chase down tackles, even right at the end of the game. Just the awesome fitness from Shai Bolton. He had 3 goals. But his pressure, I know he was always pretty good pressure at Richmond. That was what they built their team on. But I feel like he's taken that next step this year for Freo, especially the last month. And it's been perfect. So that's been really good. The rain, it was heavy in the second half. Dockers adjusted, as I just said as well. They were just awesome. Amazing ground ball gets by Bolton. And Luke Jackson. He was good in the wet. 27 disposals.
Did he have 27?
He had 27 disposals.
How many Sean Darcy had?
3.
3.
Sean Darcy had 3. Get Sean Darcy out of the side. Leave Luke Jackson. We've been saying this for weeks, lads.
Yeah, he suits those conditions as well. He's such a luxury to someone that tall to be that agile and
In
that
the
good
wet.
on the deck in the wet.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute freak for years to come.
Genuinely crazy. King, this is the other one. So we talked up Ben King and Ben Long being probably one of the best duos in the competition in terms of goal kicking. They both only had 1 goal each. Then a few of the other guys were a bit inaccurate, missed chances. That's what costs Gold Coast a fair bit. And then Flanders, he actually did pretty well. He had 3 goals, playing half forward.
Yeah, new role this season.
He showed that he can play anywhere the last couple of years.
Yeah.
He played half back, mid, and now he's playing half forward.
I think he's still, because he's a prolific ball winner, I think he's still trying to learn the role a bit because he has had a few quiet games, like half back great, midfield great. So he might be a bit inconsistent, but he's a quality player.
Yeah, so not enough of guys sort of stood up. Real as well. I don't know if you saw that. I just remembered. He actually gave a little punch to a Freo player.
It was Erasmus. I didn't quite see it, but...
So they were sort of niggling behind the player, and then he just sort of gave him a little soft one, sort of like that. And then the umpire played a free kick because
got
Erasmus
reported as well, I think.
I reckon it's at least a week.
Interesting.
Because, like, I don't care if you're not hurting someone. Why are you close fist and punching someone? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not a good look. Like, we can't do that to each other.
But we do anyway.
Yeah, we do anyway. Don't get HR on here. Anyway, Freo, that's an awesome, massive win. Not many people can go up to the Gold Coast or Darwin and beat the Suns on their home deck. So, awesome win by Freo. Flagmantle, maybe it's back on. Maybe it's back on. Could be back on. Anyway,
in 2027.
Next one on Saturday, NG Stadium, GWS Richmond, in a really close one, actually. GWS 12 goals, 8-80. Richmond, 10 goals, 17-77. What a game, lads. What a game.
I know they lost, but I want to start on Richmond here.
Yeah.
They just, for the first 3 quarters, they just wanted it more. So clearances, they won it by 13. Contested possessions, they won it by 29, and inside 50s, 11.
That's their best stat line all year.
They were prolific at not only winning the ball, but getting territory. And that obviously worked for them. Weren't as accurate as they would have liked, though. 10-17 is just
they've had more shots, and they've lost the game.
6 more shots.
They had
7 more shots.
They missed 2 or 3. They kicked 2 or 3 behinds from about 25, 30 metres straight in front. And you look at that, if one of those goes through, they're celebrating.
Yeah.
It was the story of the weekend. There's a lot of teams that missed some easy chances almost every game.
Would that have been a better win if Richmond got up and won this game? Would that have been a better win than round 1 against Carlton?
In terms of what the fans would have loved, probably not. But in terms
I'm going to say no because of the atmosphere.
In terms of what they were up against.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes because GWS is a better team, but because they beat Carlton. But yeah.
Well, on this show, the last couple of weeks, we've been giving a massive pump up to the young guns of Richmond. And rightly so. The green shoots have been fantastic. But this week, I actually want to give a shout out to their older players because they stepped up and they were superb. Dion Prestia, the meatball.
The meatball's
He's back in the team.
I love it.
We should have meatball subs tonight to celebrate his return. He was great. 31 and a goal. He led the way with that ball winning and that sort of giving them first use alongside Taranto. Hopper was really good. And Nank, I thought he was fantastic. He was the one just sort of giving them first use all day. He was superb around the ground. And just another quick shout out for Richmond. Ben Miller. He kept Jesse Hogan goalless for the first time since round 16, 2023.
Wow.
I would not expect that from Ben Funky Miller.
Oh, Funky Miller. I thought you said something else there.
Yeah.
But that is his career best game, Ben Miller, because he was taking intercept marks. Because he's a big guy. And I was so glad that he used his body a bit more because he needs to. He's such a big guy. And Jesse Hogan's massive. And he was just bodying him off. It was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and then on the Giants side, so we talk about Hogan being goalless. So that's probably one
That's crazy.
score avenue gone. Callum Brown stepped up with 3 goals. Cadman as well stepped up late. But I think the story for them is obviously terrible news with Callan Ward going down early with a suspected ACL. He's obviously getting scans in a couple of days. Probably going to end his outstanding career, which is such a shame because he's been an absolute stalwart. Just one of the best clubmen, probably most underrated players.
He's been amazing. Yeah.
He is the GWS Football Club.
He is. He's just heart and soul. And I thought the speech he gave at 3/4 time was just very inspirational and awesome to see because I reckon that kind of gave them the fight and the hunt that they needed.
Yeah.
It was like in the whole game, it gave them the hunt to go out there and start winning the ball and getting it forward and giving them the chance to win the game. And they did it for Wardy. So I thought it was great.
It was awesome. They played it. He played it down a bit at 3/4 time. They asked him, "What did you say to the boys?" He's like, "Oh, let's go back to the tactics and all that." I reckon he's fired them up. He knows how to get into their heads. He's been playing with all these guys for his whole career.
Yeah.
He knew what to say, and he's like, "Just do it for me, boys. This could be my last
It's all
ever
about
game.
me.
My knees falling off. Just win because we shouldn't be losing to Richmond." And it worked.
By the way, him actually doing an interview with Fox Footy, like
while he's
after three-quarter
that's a
time
joke.
while he's injured. Well, I was going to say that's just a credit to him.
Yeah.
The guy he is to be like, I'll do this interview.
Yeah.
So just an absolute superstar.
But that comeback was incredible. I had this on in the radio as I was driving, and you could hear Callum Brown's goal song. I don't know if you've heard that.
What's his goal
It's
song?
like a Brazilian like sort of samba song with whistles and and the crowd was like clapping.
I thought it'd be Irish because he's Irish.
Yeah, but it was an awesome. Oh no, I'm pretty sure it was like a Brazilian song because it sounded like you could do a bit of a samba to it. It was great, and the crowd was just clapping and going crazy for it. So credit to the GWS crowd. You couldn't hear a thing in the last quarter. They were so loud, and I'm very happy.
Here come the Giants.
Here come the Giants. Big sound.
Big sound.
All right, before we get into the rest of the games, let's have a quick break with Stockhead. Hey Leo, quick question. Do you know what the ASX means?
Do you mean AFLX?
No, mate. The ASX, the Australian Stock Exchange.
Oh, man, I'm absolutely clueless with that stuff.
Well, lucky for you, Stockhead is a free website that gives you everything you need to know about punting stocks on the ASX.
Damn, that sounds pretty good. Where do I check them out?
Check it out via stockhead.com.au, and it's even easy for your little pea brain to understand.
Damn.
Saturday night is the next one at the SCG. What the hell happened here? Sydney, 5 goals, 11, 41. Adelaide, 21 goals, 5, 131 points. Yes, they kicked 21 goals, 5. Marcus.
What the hell?
What the hell, man?
Well, we have to start with Adelaide. Surely, after that performance.
Absolutely.
Arguably the best performance of an individual club so far this season.
Yeah.
And they had 14 different goal scorers, Adelaide.
14! That's more than Buddy's 13!
Honestly, I don't know if Sydney have had 14 different goal scorers across the past 5 weeks, and Adelaide has just managed to smash that. But Adelaide, with that 131 points, they're by far the best offensive team in the competition so far, and they're a real threat. They're going to be a real threat when it comes to September. They're currently third. They got the best percentage in the competition with 139, and it all started in that first half, particularly in the second quarter. They kicked 7 goals to nothing. Well, 7 goals to 2 points. In fact, Sydney fans started cheering the behinds.
Oh, that's why I feel.
They got those
for the Sydney fans of the SCG. You're going to a game of footy. You're like, I'm gonna go and take the family. Go and take the family. We're gonna dress up in our Sydney scarves, and then you rocked up and you have to cheer behinds. That's a joke. Come on.
But not only was it their offensive capabilities that were on full display, it was also the defensive capabilities. As much as Sydney were turning the ball over and were terrible by foot, they kept the reigning grand finalists, if that's even a word to say that, to 1 goal 4 at halftime. Just the 10 points at home Sydney were. So, look, they were deplorable in the end, the Sydney Swans. You can't be losing by that margin at home. You were last season. I know they've got a lot of injuries. I know it's Dean Cox's first year.
Can't lower your colours like that.
You can't let a team score against you that easily and turn the ball over that frequently. It just looked like there was no structure. There were times where they just panic, get the ball, kick it long because, look, we need goals here. We're 10 goals down. Let's just kick it forward. And Mark Keane was having an absolute field day.
He was good, yeah.
Is he one of the most underrated tall defenders in the
I reckon you could say that about a lot of their defenders.
McAllion,
Josh Worrell,
Mitch
Hinge.
They're all having great
Even
seasons.
Miller are the likes of halfback as well.
So, like, we've done this on this show. We always go, the tall forwards, they're killing it. They're still, like, a really good top 5, I think, defense in the competition, Adelaide. And we haven't really been talking about their defense.
It's because their defense, like, and I don't mean any disrespect, but it doesn't have the A-grade stars. No. It doesn't have, like, a Harris Andrews or a Wiedering or a Sam Taylor, who we know are stars. But they are more than just role players. They are genuine contributors for the football club that make them such a good defense. So
absolutely,
keep it up, Adelaide.
I think in the first 10 to 15 minutes, in the first half of the second quarter, Mark Keane had 4 or 5 intercept marks.
Yeah,
it just shows that Sydney's delivery inside 50 was embarrassing at times. It really was. And look, it was a celebration for their 2005 premiership winning side.
Oh, was it?
With all the fans walking into the ground, all the fans and the former past premiership players walking into the ground together, because it was their first premiership in 2005 that year for 72 years.
Oh.
And to come out and particularly in the first half start like that,
not good enough.
It wasn't good enough from Sydney. But in a shining light for Sydney, there was a shining light, and it was Justin McInerney in his 100th game. He finished with the match-high disposals. It was a low disposal game. He finished with 27. He played particularly well, though.
Match-high,
27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was because Adelaide, you had so many guys getting 20, 22, 23, just depth across the board.
I think the top Adelaide disposal getter was 25 disposals.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But, he was the shining light for the Swans.
One other thing I just forgot to mention is Rochelle. I don't know if you saw his onside
Assist.
goal kick. He used to play soccer background, like Penderbury with his basketball background. He's gone the toe poke in the middle of the ground.
Great
it
through
was
ball.
a through ball,
Yeah.
triangle if you're playing FIFA or whatever you play, EA Sports FC, whatever it's called now. A little bit of a through ball. They even got up the Fox Footy
They
graphics.
did.
They had
was
the
very good.
onside line, so it was onside. There was no flag had to go up. And then they ran in and kicked a goal. And that is probably the best goal assist you'll ever see.
Tell you what, Inter
Champions
Milan
League.
could have,
Yeah,
Milan could have used them.
Champions League was this morning, and Inter Milan got thrashed 5-0.
So-
Josh Rochelle could have
He could have done a job on the wing. He could have done a job.
Honestly,
saying-
6-5. They win that.
I
Josh
got-
Rochelle on the wing.
They get Chelsea, get Rochelle on one wing, Mudryk on the other, who's beaten Chelsea. Anyway, that's another podcast.
No,
that
and we'll
one.
chuck Rankin up front. Actually, no, chuck Thrillthorpe up front.
No, he's just centre back, mate.
No, for the headers. Peter Crouch, just bang.
So tough.
We've solved football.
We've solved football.
Yeah, we've solved
Australian
football, and we've solved AFL. That's all right. All right, that one is enough for that one. Let's get into the next game. Sunday Fun Day, as Leo likes to call it. TIO Traeger Park. This one's in Alice Springs. This one's my one. Melbourne, St Kilda. Melbourne. The inaccuracy continues this weekend. 7 goals, 21-63. St Kilda, 14 goals, 7-91. Lads, what is the inaccuracy this weekend? It's killing them.
It's killing him. Bad
killing me.
Bad football.
But Leo, knock. Oh, knock,
Because
mate.
no one believes in the Saints. Not even I believed in them this week.
Do you wanna do it
So
then?
you don't deserve it. No, I don't even deserve it. I was off them this week. You don't deserve the satisfaction of me doing that. No one does.
All right.
Because St Kilda, they shocked the world.
I reckon you've tipped St Kilda 6-1 over the past 7 weeks,
he didn't
and
tip
this was the one. This was
The one
shame
they
on
lost.
you. Shame.
Shame
Okay,
that
it
man.
is shame on me, and I will take that. But can I just say to the viewers, I walk into the office at the start of the last week, and they go, Leo, you just can't be tipping St Kilda anymore. You just can't be doing it. Like, you just can't. So, shame on me.
That's actually funny because you did say on the Thursday show, I'll watch. They'll go and win this week because I haven't tipped them. And they did it. Ross Lyon was watching our show and he's like, boys, we've got to win. Leo,
We've got to win for Leo.
Maybe,
Stuff him.
maybe it was a return of a particular goal sneak which got him over the line.
Absolutely. Dan Butler, first game back for the season, 4 goals. Danger. They used to call him. All of his goals were from the top of the goal square, but he was just always in the right spots. He was at the fore of the ball. He got a few marks down there as well. 4 goals, just an awesome return to the game. Fast starting Saints as well. Great tactics. I thought the tactic for putting Windhager on Cozzy worked immaculately.
Yeah, it was
That's
a
probably
masterstroke.
It's probably the best tactic we've had all season. So you had held him to 12 disposals. So Cozzy only had 12 disposals. Windhager had 28 disposals himself. Probably his best career game ever.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because going into that game, I would have said, look, Windhager's a good tagger, but I feel like Cozzy would have had too much speed for him. I would have thought Windhager could go to Clary or track, but we just got proven wrong. Or I got proven wrong because
Yeah,
he
that's
did great.
That's probably Cozzy's first off game in I'd say about a month, or even more.
Well,
He's
in the
been
past
incredible.
month, he's been averaging, I think, 22 disposals and 2 goals.
Yeah, well, almost 3 goals, 2.6, I'm pretty sure. So he's been incredible, and Windhager absolutely shut him down. This is just crazy from the Saints. On the Ds, though, I want to touch on the Ds. I didn't write this in the run sheet, but I just remembered. On the Thursday show, we said there were 3 wins from their last 5. Sorry,
At Traeger Park.
at Traeger Park, 2 wins from their last 5. So now they're 2 wins from their past 6 at Traeger Park in Alice Springs. Maybe they don't want to go up there anymore.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
It's not ideal up there. It was beautiful, though. Beautiful scenery.
It was,
around
yes.
there.
But-
I want to go there.
But they did have their chances to actually, make this even a little bit closer or potentially won the game.
Yeah, you can't be kicking 7 goals, 21. They had 1 goal, 12 in the second half. 1 goal, 12. So they probably should have at least gotten within a goal or 2, or probably won this just from inaccurate kicking. They had 17 more inside 50s than the Saints, but the
Yeah.
Saints kicked 7 more goals still.
I know it's up 1 goal 12 is obviously should never happen, but
Yeah.
I think we might need to acknowledge the fact of where the shots were being taken.
Yeah, true.
St Kilda, I think it was like halfway through the second quarter, all of their goals were from 30 metres or less inside 50, which is what you brought up with Butler. They were getting deeper entries where Melbourne perhaps weren't getting those deeper entries. So, there's high percentage shots and there's low percentage shots. And I know 721's bad and that should never, ever happen. But
Yeah, even if you're going at 50% from your low percentage shots, that's all right.
you do need to generate some better opportunities for your team.
But yeah, Saints were just so efficient. Obviously, when they didn't have anywhere near as many inside 50s, got a lot of goals. Petrarca really tried in the second half. I thought he was solid. 22 disposals, 2 goals, and most of those touches were in the second half. I thought Stephen May was really solid. He was getting really frustrated though, yelling at umpires, yelling at opponents, yelling at the crowd. He was getting really mad. He had 21 disposals, 10 marks, and I think at least 6 or 7 intercepts. He was really good. But the Saints, they just kept attacking throughout. So I was listening to on the radio, they were like, this would be a classic Saints game if they just shut the game down the last quarter and not sort of play their free footy. And it's similar to when they made finals a couple of years ago. They decided to play that free flowing footy. I think they need to do that, try and do that every week, even if they lose.
Yeah. And I also want to give a shout out. You mentioned May, who was great, but on the other end, Wilkie, I think he had like 30 disposals and 15 marks. He was a real rock down there for the Saints. And I think we've gone through every game, and the one theme that has been prevalent throughout is efficiency inside 50.
Yep.
How important is that?
Absolutely.
Not just this round, but for the season. If you're efficient inside 50, you're going to put yourself in the best position to win the game. You look at, I'd argue, Essendon at times. Actually, Brisbane.
Because Brisbane kicked, I think, at one stage 7 or 8 behinds in a row. But you're right. I mean, if teams can keep other teams to low percentage shots on goal, like St Kilda did against Melbourne, I just hope this isn't a purple patch for Melbourne that we look back on as like, they played really great here, but they didn't
sustain it.
They can't sustain it, and they're not being consistent because everyone likes to see Melbourne doing well.
Yeah.
When they are doing well, they bring out like, it's better for football when you see some of the big clubs like Melbourne bring in a big crowd. We'd rather that than see them play on a Sunday at 1:30, 1:10 in front of not many people.
Fair call. I think this was an awesome win by the Saints. Melbourne have been the best team or equal to Collingwood since round 5, and then they've knocked them off in a random arena, obviously at Alice Springs, that not many teams play at. So awesome win for the Saints. I think this might be little bit of a blip for the Ds, but worrisome signs because this is sort of how they were playing a bit earlier in the season, a bit inefficient. So bit of a worry there. All right, through the power of our producer Gerald and the internet, we are back live for this game. Sunday, Optus Stadium, West Coast Geelong. West Coast 11 goals, 7-73. Geelong 17 goals, 14, 116. Pretty solid game, Leo.
Yeah, this was a really fun game. I thought it could have been a smashing, but West Coast, they were competitive, but it was Geelong. They ran rampant in the first and last quarter. Bailey Smith was unbelievable, 36 and a goal. He continues his sort of push for the Brownlow potentially. But in his
question mark?
I don't know if you saw, but he grabbed at the hammy late. He played out the game, but he grabbed out the hammy, so just wanted to keep an eye on. But Myers, he was firing, and I thought Holmes' run and carry was too good as well. Jazzo, kicks 5, 4 in the last. Marcus doesn't want to talk about it, but that's all right. Look, it's hard to say because he kicked 5, but I thought Jinby did a really good job on him for 3 quarters. And I'll put my hand up. I thought Jinby as a sort of key defender wasn't going to work. I kind of saw him as a more of an on-ball midfielder type, but I thought he competed really hard against Cameron. He rebounded well himself. And yeah, just overall, like he gave his all. He gave effort to every contest, which is all you can ask. So
he only conceded like one other than that last quarter. He was solid, and we've all said the same thing about Jinby playing back, but he really held his own, and maybe that's a sign for the future. And if they can find him down back, then beautiful. Yeah,
it's sort of like another piece to the puzzle that like they have so many pieces they need to connect, but he could be one that could fill the void down there. On the Eagles, though, I actually thought this was Harley Reid's best game for the season. He only has 19 and a goal, but he was noticeable out there. His run and carry was electric. Burst from the stoppage. I think he got caught a couple times, but I don't mind that because it shows that he's willing to take the game on, willing to play to his strengths. So I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah, Marcus, you were going off about his goal. Was it up there for goal of the year? Caddy's probably a little bit better as well.
Up there for goal of the year.
Definitely was not goal of the year. I didn't carry on that much, but no, it was just very exciting to see the future Bomber play well.
The future Bomber.
He's probably not wrong there. One player not going to Essendon, but potentially Brisbane, Oscar Allen. He kept them in it early with his accurate kicking. I think it was 3 goals in the first half, 1 in the third. Just when sort of Geelong were up by about 3-4 goals early on, Allen was just there popping up, keeping them in the game so they could make that charge. And then a part of that charge, Liam Baker, I thought he was sublime. Probably his best game for the club. 29 disposals, but he really lowered the eyes when he had the football, and I thought he was a real focal point for the Eagles.
100%. You were talking about Oscar Allen, and it was important that he kicked straight as well. Like he kept him in it because at times you were talking about when they were getting 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals down, and he needs to kick those goals. He did kick those goals, albeit like a little bit ugly off the boot, but they went through the middle. So is that the answer now with McGovern gone? Do we put Jimby back and Allen forward?
Yeah, I think Allen is a natural forward, and I know with Waterman out, I like what they have with Jack Williams and Archer Reid. They're some good project players. So if you have Allen there with them, sort of being that experienced guy, like that's your base and you work from there, I think.
Absolutely. Just one more thing on Baz Smith, obviously. Do we think he's can win the Brownlow, lads? Like, obviously, you had Dacos up there. We talked up a few other players in our midweek show. He'd be up there as one of the favourites now.
Well, I think he was second favourite going into the week. And obviously his performance was incredible tonight.
3 votes.
Just want to see how that hammy pulls up, though. I want to see.
I don't know what's more concerning, if he can miss out through injury or if he can escape suspension from the AFL. Because
he might throw up a rude finger.
Yeah, there was no bird. It was a bird off between Harley Reid and Baz Smith, but we didn't see any, so that was a bit disappointing. All right, Geelong take the chocolates. They weren't that impressive, but they got the job done again, and they're so fit and strong in the last quarters, as we've seen all year. Let's get into the ladder check, lads. Ladder check. Obviously, you've got Collingwood flying on top at 40 points. We've got the Crom. We don't mind the Crom on this show. They've pipped and jumped the Gold Coast into third now. That's unbelievable. When you got Gold Coast and Adelaide in the top 4, that is incredible. Then we go down. We've got Freo still in the 8. Actually, they've jumped up into the 8th spot, which is beautiful for them. Who have we got? We've also got Melbourne back into 12th. St Kilda pushing up to 11th, which isn't too bad. Sydney, the real worry there, 4 and 8. I think they're cooked for the finals. Do we think, lads?
Yeah, I think that cooks them, that loss. Just not the fact that they lost, but it's also how they lost. Like, that's just that they can make a run, I guess, in the back half, but it's not going to be towards finals. It'll just be sort of a few cheapy wins, I think.
Even with their percentage is shocking. So look, they're going to have to win a game extra on everyone else if they want to even get inside the 8. And I just don't see that happening the way they're playing.
Yeah, and the ladder's a little bit skewed. Obviously, you've got the teams that had the bye, so you've got the rest. You've got Port Adelaide, then the bottom 3. I don't think it's going to change too much, but Richmond and West Coast were actually very solid this week for bottom 3 sides. Shows how even the competition is. And there we go. That is the ladder check. Let's get into the tipping results, lads. Did we all get 5? Leo, you're usually tracking this.
Yeah. Oh, am I? Okay. Yeah, we all got 5, I think. Yeah. We all tipped the same. So we got Gold Coast and obviously Melbourne wrong. Alex tipped Sydney. So he got 4. I just wanted to raise that one. He got 4.
He's loving it over there in Paris.
I am very jealous right now.
He had the PSG celebrations over there, so we're all jealous, but can't be tipping Sydney anymore. Sorry, mate. All right, big call results. I'll start with my one. Lukey Pedler. He got 1. I got excited. It was very
That could be the worst big call of the season. Because Marcus and I got pretty close this week.
Leo, what was your one?
So I had Logan Morris at 4. He kicked 2 goals, 3. He passed one off that was about 5 metres out, and he kicked another out in the full. So that's just the full Logan experience, that one.
Is he the full Joe, the new full Joe?
I think he is the full Joe because you never know what he's going to get. He kicked a snap from 40 out too. He's a weird unit.
He is a weird unit. Marcus, Jezza, he was close.
Yeah, he was close. He heard my big call at 3/4 time. They said, look, Marcus has a big call and you had to kick 6. Go on, do it. And he almost took the big call from the clouds, but he couldn't quite do it. He finished with 5 goals, 2, so he could have had it.
Yeah, that is very stiff. We will get a couple of big calls next week. I'm just feeling it. It's a big weekend, a long weekend for big calls. I feel it. All right, best on ground of the week. Here we go. Leo, this is your one.
Yeah, a few nominees, but 1 vote. B. Smith, 38 disposals and a goal. I just think his run and carry is too valuable to Geelong, and that was on show tonight. 2 votes. J. Elliott, 5 goals. Now, I know he wasn't the only player to kick 5 goals this week, but what I really liked about his game is that his leading patterns are first class. Collingwood's ball movement was obviously helped by the lack of pressure, but he always finds space in tight sort of areas as well. And he's great overhead. He showed that on Friday night. He deserves 2 votes. Coleman, he's second in the Coleman.
Yes.
How good.
That's
if you're
crazy.
a Pies fan, you'd be loving that. 3 votes. H. McCluggage. I thought he was the best player this round. 41 disposals. But it's just the way his impact on how they move the ball and their chain is just... I don't think there's another player who has that impact for their side, if that makes sense. He just knows how to get involved with scores. He knows how to get inside 50s, and he's not too bad in the trenches as well. So That's where I saw it this week.
Leo,
Let me know who was stiff in the comments.
yeah, let us know in the comments. I think that's pretty bang on. I think McCluggage is just an underrated beast. As we talked about him for half the show, I love him, and he well deserved 3 votes from Leo there. All right, full credit, best team of the round, Makosa. This one's always a bit fishy, but we'll see how we go. Yeah?
Oh, what are you talking about? This is gospel. This is the Bible. What I talk right here. So, look, it feels weird to put this team as one vote, but I'm going to go 1 vote are Tigers. Despite losing the game, Richmond gets 1 vote in the best 3 teams of the round.
That's crazy.
Look, I was expecting them.
Oh, no, I'm going to say it at the end.
I was expecting them to rock up and lose by 80, but to do that on the road where they have a terrible interstate record recently, and GBS are a hell of a good football club, to go out and pretty much they should have won that game. Let's be real. They should have won that game. They still get a vote from me.
Wait, this is gospel apparently.
This is gospel.
We really scraped the bottom of the barrel in the bye rounds with the best team.
2 votes. St Kilda Saints. I'm going to go with Saints.
Kilda Saints.
Again, kicking straight, unlike the Tigs, to get you the win against a team who didn't kick so straight. And likewise, Melbourne were one of the form teams of the competition. And for St Kilda, we didn't really think that they could go off and pull an upset, let's be honest, with the way they were playing in recent weeks. It was just so dull and lackluster, but they brought a bit of flair today, and that was proven by the likes of Danny Butler.
Danny Butler.
Danger. Getting on the score sheet with 4. And finally, 3 votes. I think it just has to be to the A Crows. The Crom absolutely dismantled the Sydney Swans and have really risen and staked their claims in the rest of the competition for the premiership favourites.
Collingwood are stiff with this.
Collingwood and Freo.
I forgot about Freo.
You got to show some love. You got to show some love to the 4 teams.
Freo not got votes.
Tigers. Collingwood. I predicted Collingwood to win by 6 goals. That's fine with me.
He's put Richmond in for 1 vote for travelling away and losing. Freo travelled to Gold Coast and won, and they don't get a vote.
There's a difference on expectations, mate. If you go up to a 3 in a club, and if you go up to a 10, if you succeed and fail with one
what
or
are
the
you
other,
saying?
it doesn't mean it was a successful night. So
That did not make any sense.
I'm trying to get this. Let's get through the show, boys. But that is the worst best team in the round we've ever had, and I just got to put that out there.
I think take him off it.
It's a late recording. I was just. We need Wally.
Freo.
I think the comments just said "Get back, Wally." I just saw a comment pop up.
I'm going to hear it from Wally on Tuesday.
Anyway, before we finish off, lads, make sure everyone checks out our Freeze MND fundraiser. It's actually in our bio on our link tree on Instagram. We're going to be doing an ice bath challenge over in Brunswick. Us 3, I think, Olivia as well. So that'd be good fun. I don't know how you guys go on ice baths. How you feeling about that one?
Better than Horn Francis.
Oh, better than very good. Yeah, very, very good.
Are we just going to skip to the end without mentioning none of us got our locks right for the week? Not one of us.
Yeah, I actually got it right because Tab missed by 1 and I got mine missed by 1. So.
No, we don't have that at all. That is a joke from us that we all got the locks wrong, and I think we might have to cook someone up during the week because we should be punished for that. That's pretty bad. Come on.
I think it's fine.
I don't know about that. Anyway, that'll do us for the AFL Today Show, brought to you by Stockhead. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe to AFL Today on YouTube. Follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for more footy content all season long. Remember, it is Aussie Rules Today on Facebook. Subscribe, star, and like all of our shows on your podcast app. That's Cricket Today, AFLW Today, Hold All Tickets, True Bloods, Honest Beers, and Footy Form Guide. If you liked Wally, I've thrown a few people in the comments. Get on Honest Beers and Footy Form Guide. He's great on there. Thank you very much to Joe for putting up with all of our shenanigans tonight. Thank you, Leo.
Ta-ta.
Thanks, Marcus.
Don't forget my word is gospel.
Yes, apparently. Make sure you get around our midweek show for Midweek Madness. We'll catch you then on AFL Today.